Am I the a-hole for arguing with my husband's doctor and acting like a Karen because they wouldn't listen? Husband has a sore foot. No injury or medical condition that would explain the pain, but he hasn't been able to walk properly for about a week. Being the absolute pain in my ass that he is, he's refused to go to the doctors until today. Apparently he preferred to just pop paracetamol and complain to me. It's gotten progressively more swollen and misshapen looking, and today it's gone a funny color and he can't put any weight on it. So I called our GP, who has sent him to the walk-in clinic at our local hospital. We finally get seen and the doctor refused to even examine it. Told him without even looking at the foot that it was a sprain and he wasn't going to prescribe him any painkillers, so not to ask. Then he started demonstrating some kind of exercises that involved going up and down on tiptoes and flexing the toes. I asked if he would please just look, as it has gone nearly black in some spots and looks similar to how my wrist looked when I broke it a few years ago. He huffed at me and asked where my medical degree was from. It put my back up and I demanded to see another doctor or his senior. I was the a-hole here because it wasn't me being treated, so I get he thought I was a pushy cow. Husband wouldn't say boo to a goose in medical situations and would have accepted the doctor's instructions without any questions about actually needing to be examined. Doctor left and we heard him outside the cubicle telling the senior doctor that they have a confrontational spouse who thinks her WebMD searching qualifies her to instruct real doctors how to practice medicine. He also states that he suspects my husband of exaggeration to get opiates. By the time the other doctor arrives, I'm seething and lay out exactly what went on and explained I only want someone to look at the foot before sending us away. He looks, Q x-rays, an MRI, the good, painkillers and a walking boot cast thing with potential to need surgery because he's got 7 stress fractures in that foot, probably from running. Admittedly worse than they needed to be because he didn't get any treatment when it first started to hurt. Second doctor and someone from the hospital admin come and apologize for the first doctor and ask if we want to make a formal complaint. So I did, because the outcome of his not listening to the patient or family could have been worse. Husband did not. Husband said later that the first doctor may get sacked because of me complaining and I should have left it because no real harm was done. Was it an a-hole move to complain? I don't usually have Karen tendencies, but he was just so patronizing and dismissive, and I kept thinking, what if it was a young mother with a sick baby and he dismissed that not everything would stand their ground and there could be really serious consequences. Not the a-hole. You were right to be insistent. The doctor was not doing his job. You did what you had to do. I'm going to add that your husband is a huge a-hole here too. Not taking care of your health and making yourself a burden on your spouse is downright selfish. He needs a stern talking to. At very least, you need to stop enabling him. In the future, stop dealing with these instances. If he dares complain, call him out on the need to take care of himself and not be a burden on you. Your husband is an adult. He can take his sock off and show the doctor his messed up foot without you being there. You coming in the doctor's office to begin with was confrontational. You telling the doctor what you thought was wrong with him, instead of just telling your husband to take his sock off, was confrontational. You're the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for giving my niece sleeping pills and getting her addicted? For the last month, my 26 female, niece 8 female, was staying with me while my sister 38 female, had an emergency to take care of. The first few nights were rough as expected. She couldn't fall asleep, and when she did, she'd wake up multiple times throughout the night. She was tired, I was tired. Just to experiment, I got some kids' vitamin C tablets and told her they were sleeping pills. And it worked like magic. She fell asleep instantly and slept through the night. For the rest of her stay with me, every time she couldn't sleep, I gave her a sleeping pill. 2 days ago, she went back to her parents and last night couldn't sleep and wanted the sleeping pills. I brought them over and my niece was able to fall asleep. My sister was livid. I tried explaining to her that they were just vitamin C pills, but my sister says that my niece is probably addicted now. That I'm an a-hole because I didn't consult her before giving my niece medications. I do feel a little bad, especially seeing how upset this made my sister. But on the other hand, this isn't medication. I don't tell her about everything my niece eats. So am I the a-hole here? Was this something I should have run by my sister first? Not the a-hole. Come on, even if she was addicted to these pills, which she is absolutely not, what's the actual harm? So she won't get scurvy. Great. Tell your sister to take a placebo chill pill. You're the a-hole. The placebo effect is real and measurable. You have started to create an association with taking medication to solve a sleep problem. This is not a good thing long term, even if the medicine was harmless. You are creating a psychological dependency. Medicine, real or placebo, should be discussed with the parents first. Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out when she blew my money on online game? My 22 female, sister 27 female, has been living with me and my 3-month-old for the last 2 months after her company liquidated. She wasn't there long enough to receive a redundancy payment, so she was kind of screwed. Aside from the issue here, R was a good housemate. She was clean, had people over but never too many or too often, helped out with the baby. Just generally okay to live with, especially since she has actually been job hunting. Now the problem is, my sister was a recovered gambling addict. All of her bank cards have gambling blocks in place, because her addiction was so severe. She even would blow money on online games, such as Coin Master this time. It doesn't even need to be real money she's winning, just the spiny shit gives her that happy chemical. All it results in is losing money. She was using my tablet to do this, which I unknowingly had Google Pay set up on. I never changed the settings so that I'd need a password to buy anything on the Play Store, since I thought I was the only person with access to it. I was wrong. Yesterday alone, my sister managed to blow my entire paycheck on CoinMaster, and I wasn't aware until this morning when I went to get my groceries, but my card declined. I checked my banking app and emails and she had managed to spend everything on game packs. This meant that I wasn't able to grocery shop for the next 2 weeks, and while I can survive on what I have, the baby cannot, because we're low on everything for him, but I can't get what I need. I've posted on FB groups and stuff, but they haven't been much help yet. I admit, I was maybe more angry than I should have been at my sister, and as soon as I got home, I kicked her out. I didn't give her a reason, or let her know I know she spent everything, I just kicked her out. When our parents called to ask why, I explained and they said I'm being unfair, that since I didn't set up necessary protection and knowing she has a problem, I'm being in a hole. They won't speak to me now, and have taken my sister, who blocked me, in. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Call your bank and tell them that the payments were made without your knowledge or consent. Do the same thing with Google Pay. Stuff like this happens all the time with kids doing it, etc., so they should both have some idea on what you can do to recover at least some of your money. She knew what she was doing, she knew it wasn't her money she was spending and she stole from you. Addiction is a disease, but that doesn't protect the person from the consequences of their actions. You're the a-hole. You knew about your sister's addiction. You know that you have to keep a close eye on addicts because they can steal and cheat in order to get their addiction filled. Your sister unknowingly used up all your money. And then you didn't even have the decency to tell her why you were kicking her out or even give her the chance to pay you back. An addiction is a disease, and this is the first time that she has done something like that to you. Am I the a-hole for asking my girlfriend's friend to do something about her nipples when she comes over? My 22 male, girlfriend 22 female, lives with me. As in it's my place, but she stays here. She often has her best friend 23 female, come over for girls' nights or so they could hang out or do whatever. So this friend is kinda quirky. She's one of those. Astrology, Crystal, your aura isn't clear today chicks. One of her eccentricities is that she never wears a bra. Like all the time I've known her, I don't think she has ever once worn a bra. Now I know it's her body and I have no right to police her body, but like it kinda makes me uncomfortable. She's got a lot going on in that area and it's just like, I don't want to stare or ever look, but it's eye-catching. I love the cold and keep it colder in my place. Like typically the most I'll turn it up to is 70 degrees and that's only in the dead of winter. Normally it's around 60 to 65. So when this friend comes over, she is typically braless and then sometimes is cold. This leads to her nipples getting hard and very visible. And it's really uncomfortable. I don't like intentionally look, but it's the kind of thing where I glance over in her direction and I see them and I end up looking at her boobs like in front of my girlfriend. Last time she came over I came out of our bedroom for a minute to get something out of the fridge. She was by the kitchen and I look up and I see them. She calls me out on looking. She thinks it's funny and my girlfriend does not. I tell her that I wouldn't glance if she did something about her nipples and that she should probably wear a bra or pasties or something when she comes over. Now she's mad at me for policing her. She told me that if I'm staring at her boobs it's not her fault and I need to be better. This evolved into an argument and now I'm in the doghouse. My girlfriend wants me to give her an apology, when I really don't feel I was that out of line. Like if I came out not wearing underwear and everything was visible through my pants, I'd be in the wrong too. Am I the a-hole? I don't know why guys assume all bras are in nipple invisibility cloaks. You can still see nipples under certain circumstances even if someone is wearing a bra. You can also see guys' nipples through their shirts, but you don't hear anyone demanding they do something about it. It's also completely possible for a guy to not to constantly look at someone's boobs because eye contact is a thing. You're the a-hole. Unpopular opinion, but not the a-hole here. Yes, I know we're not supposed to sexualize our breasts. Trust me, I've got a set of DVDs that have gotten more looks than I care to think about since I was 14. I get it. We ought to be more civilized by now. It's gross and demeaning. Yet from the time we grow them, women are taught that nice breasts are attractive to men. We are shown shirts with lovely plunging necklines designed to highlight our cleavage. We are encouraged to get implants to make them bigger, to contour them with makeup to make them look bigger, to do everything possible to make our breasts look big and firm and bouncy and perfect. We are told by fashion, by trends, and by everything around us that we are supposed to make ourselves look attractive, and one of the biggest ways to do that is with our breasts. We also have TV, print, video games, anime, and internet constantly using breasts as an attention getter. The number one way to get ratings on a show is to bare tits. Sites like Pornhub have whole sections dedicated to nothing but big bouncy mammaries. Can't have it both ways. Breasts are either attractive and tantalizing, dare I say, titillating? Or they're not. Collectively, we're constantly conditioned to see cleavage and get turned on. Breasts are monetized beyond belief. Yet individually we're supposed to ignore them. You're stuck in a no-win situation here, and for what it's worth, as a woman, I'm sorry for you. Am I the a-hole for refusing to fire the nanny my ex pays for to cut costs after his fiancée asked me to? Apart from the money my ex gives me, he also pays for certain things for our children, including school fees and childcare costs. We have a nanny that is shared between us, but since the children are with me 70% of the time, I benefit more from having her even though my ex pays her. His fiancée recently asked me to give her a breakdown of all of the costs related to our kids because she feels like my ex is overpaying me and she wants to be more involved in their financial decisions. I gave it to her and now she wants me to fire the nanny to cut costs because she feels like the kids don't need a nanny and that this particular nanny is too expensive. I told her I wasn't going to fire her because the kids were already attached to her, she was good with them and she made life easier. She insists I could use a babysitter instead and that if I wanted to keep the nanny, I needed to pay for her myself and that she was no longer welcome in her home. She told me once they got married, I would also need to pay half of those extra costs my ex covers and that he would only be giving me the legally required amount of support from now on. I said good luck with that and she kept asking me if I was threatening her. This turned into a huge argument and at one point I called her a delusional idiot because she thinks my ex is going to agree to this. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. But a bit unwise in talking to her in the first place. Talk only to your ex about issues like this. Everyone sucks here. I think she overstepped, but I think you're being unrealistically entitled and greedy. Not sure why you think you deserve everything you're getting. Am I the a-hole for telling my stay-at-home wife that she needs to start making a detailed budget of expenses? My wife stays at home with our daughter and has taken over buying all the household items from me because she says I spend too much money on them. For about a year she has been buying the goods for the house, and would spend a mysterious amount of money and then complain that she had no money left over in the next month. It's not a small amount that she gets each month to pay for the expenses, and even with costs rising I can't imagine that she is spending all of it to where there is nothing left over. A couple months ago we had an argument over why she has no money left over at the end of a month and how can things be so expensive. The end of it was that she needs to start making a proper itemized budget for a couple months so we can see where all the money is going. I didn't ask for anything crazy, just go to Excel, pick one of the family budget templates and fill it in properly, and keep track of expenses. She got indigent about the idea that she would have to make a budget, then send me a picture from her notepad on the phone with random spans of numbers put in for things like food, utilities, etc. and since then she has refused to even entertain the idea of making a budget. While I don't have an issue with buying all of the daily necessities, nor do I have an issue with her buying them. My issue is with the missing money. She gets the equivalent of almost $2,000 a month for expenses, but can only account for about $800,1000. The above argument came from her saying I spend too much on my lunch and snacks, but she can't account for so much money. Not the a-hole. You should check the bank records and find out where the money is being spent. Everyone sucks here. Make a budget together. And do a budget for everything. And stop buying lunch and snacks at work, make lunch and take it in.